Shabbat Shalom, everyone. This Shabbos is a very special Shabbos, Shabbos Nachamu, a Shabbos of comfort. The Shabbos always comes right after Tisha B'Av, a day of sadness, a day of destruction, a day in which we mourn the destruction of the first and second temple. But nevertheless, in the day of Tisha B'Av itself, it has tremendous transformative energy. It's actually considered a holiday. We don't say Tachnun like we did on the 17th of Tammuz or the 10th of Teves, because it says it's the birthday of Mashiach. God can't destroy a temple without planning the third and holy temple. And so this Shabbos, we have the Haftorah of Nachamu, Nachamu. Comfort, comfort, representing the first and second Beis HaMikdash. But we ask Hashem to bring us that third Beis HaMikdash. The Rebbe said the way that we're going to bring the third Beis HaMikdash is through Ahavas Chinam, through senseless love. As the destruction of the second temple happened because of Sinas Chinam, because senseless hatred. And it's a very powerful idea, especially the last couple of weeks. As we were in Israel, and we witnessed the protests, and as you're seeing on media about the division and separation in the land of Israel. But the truth of the matter is that while there are protests, and while there are people who are against the judicial reforms, and there are people who are for judicial reforms, in reality, the love that we have for one another it supersedes, it goes beyond that. You know, there was a very powerful story of the judicial reforms when they were in the early protests, and they came to Bnei Brak, and on a Friday night, or it was on a Thursday night, they thought they were going to come out, and the observant Jews would come out and fight against them, and instead they brought them out shalom, they brought them out food to eat. And at the end of the day, although we come from political different spectrums, possibly, some people are on the left, some people on the right, some people are Republicans, some people are Democrats, some people are for reforms, some people are against reforms. Ultimately, we have to know how to love each other. And that is the most important thing. That is what's going to bring the third and holy temple. I saw a very beautiful video this week. It was a cute video of someone setting up outside of a supermarket in Israel. And when people would come by, he would ask them, are you for the reforms or against the reforms? If they said they're for the reforms, he said, well, I'm against the reform, but nevertheless, give me a hug. And they gave him a hug. The opposite guy came and says, you're for the reforms? He said, I'm against the reforms. He says, well, I'm for the reforms, but give me a hug. And each time he gave them a bottle of wine and chocolate. And it was just a powerful idea to see, at the end of the day, we're all people. We all love Israel. We all want the best for Israel. And even if we believe differently what's needed or what should be changed, at the end of the day, the love has to supersede it all. And this is specifically this Torah portion this week of Eschana. The Eschana, the word means I implore. As Moshe Rabbeinu implores God to please let him to go and pass and to go into the land of Israel. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu asks Hashem, he prays to God 515 times. And if he would pray one more time, God has to stop him and says, do not. But if he would pray even one more time, the 516th time, God would have to let him into the land of Israel. And so I spoke at a class this week, and it's a very powerful idea. We talk about the concept of Mashiach, and we talk about the concept of a time in which we have peace and security and love for one another. And it doesn't seem like it's anywhere near in today's day and age. It doesn't seem like it's a time of comfort, of nachamu, nachamu. If anything, it seems like we are, in many ways, the most divided right now that we've been in a very long time. But in reality, sometimes we have to see past it. Sometimes, like Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, he asked Hashem 515 times. He prays to God 515 times. He doesn't pray him once or twice or three times. Sometimes you have to do things consistently. And you feel like God's not answering us. But in reality is that if he would have had prayed one more time, God preempted him and stopped him, because he knew that even though it wasn't part of God's plan, even though God already told him you're not going to go into the land of Israel, he prayed enough, God was going to be forced to let him into the land of Israel. And so too in our own lives, we have to do good things, and we have to do positive things. And we say, I would do good things, and I did all this. But nevertheless, what happened in my life? I pray every single day. I put on tefillin every single day. But nevertheless, God doesn't respond to me. We don't know if it's going to be the 515th time, if it's the 10th time, it's the 516th time. Moses that had a direct mouth-to-mouth connection with Hashem. He was a prophet that was the greatest prophet to ever live. He prays 515 times that God was not responding to him once. But the 516th time, that is where God would be forced to let him into the land of Israel and ultimately bring the Mashiach already back then. And so as we go into the Shabbos Veschana, and Shabbos of comfort, we have to remember that we have to constantly do good. And sometimes it may take a little bit longer. But ultimately, God's promise of comfort will ultimately come. Shabbat Shalom, and we'll see you all tonight, 7:30 for burgers and beer, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.